Good morning. Today I think I'd like to talk about this or try to video talking about it. I've counted the cells in the deep foundation. How I did it was I counted the number in a row and a number in a column and then multiplied. If you study it, when you start counting, a column has got spaces as you go, I'll kind of show. You go that one, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, all the way down there, there's only 7. It's because you kind of skip. But either way, that's how it works, and that's the numbers I'm getting. If you do it the same on each, then at least the numbers will compare. Now, you could argue about the methodology I used to count. You can count diagonals, and just you could do this more than one way, and beekeepers will argue about it. I did it this way: rows and columns. Okay, I get where there's 1,716 per side of each foundation. In a standard beehive, there's 10 of those, and each has 2 sides. That's where the 20 comes from. So you end up with 34,320 cells as your base number for a standard deep, or at least if you use my method. And why is that significant? Well, I've run beehives where the queen was kept in a standard deep, and then queen excluder above that was honey supers above the queen excluder, and it works. It works well under certain conditions. But if you had started out with a hive that's pollen bound, you might have some trouble. It's touchy, but usually it works running a single deep with 34,320 cells. You start doing bee math and you think, well, maybe my queen lays 2,000 eggs a day, and it's a 21-day cycle. If you're raising workers, if a queen lays an egg in a cell, the egg will hatch and do metamorphosis and turn into a honeybee. It takes 21 days before that bee emerges, and then the queen can come back and lay an egg in that cell again. That's what the 21-day cycle. Okay, so if she lays 2,000 a day, and the cycle is 21 days, 2,000 times 21 is 42,000, right? Well, if a queen is existing and operating her everything in a single deep hive body, then she's obviously not laying 42,000 eggs in 3 weeks. There's not enough cells. So it's possible that the size of your brood chamber could restrict the amount of eggs your queen might lay. I don't know. But I kind of like math. And, you start thinking, well, 10 frames in a brood chamber is great. It's quick, easy to check when it works. And it does work most of the time. So you start thinking other ideas. Suppose you wanted to have a brood chamber that was about the same size, but use medium frames, medium box. That's what this is. It's not half as big, it's a little more than half. See? 2 of these, guess what? Is 42,000 and change. Because if you do the math on this, one box, a 10 frame box, is 21,840 cells. Let's just round it off for 21,000 to make the math easy. And that's 42,000. So two mediums is plenty of space for a brood nest. That's where I'm getting at. I've got hives that are like that, but then you got to search through 20 frames. But it makes a lot of things easier too. So you might consider doing it this way. Have your brood nest be just 2 medium boxes, supers, so to speak. Except you'd use them for your brood nest. I think that might work, and it's working for me. I've got hives that I've set up to where they're just all medium-sized boxes. That way I can switch stuff around pretty easy. There are guys and girls that do their whole beekeeping operation using only this size equipment. It makes keep the stuff separate, and it just makes it easier, and it's less weight. Because if you're doing it my way, though, one of these boxes will never get full of honey. It's all just brood. It's still heavy, but if a queen is doing right, and you go through one of the hive like this where it's just 10 frames of deep, it'll be brood nest from edge to edge. Every single cell will be in the process of making bees or hatching out bees or eggs. It's just kind of a beautiful thing when you go through it and see it. It's just, whoever figured all this stuff out way back in the 1850s or 1840s pretty much hit it right on. There have been very few changes to this equipment since it was patented in like 1851 or something like that. I don't know exactly, but the Langstroth beehive in the United States is, the patent on it is that old. It's kind of amazing that beekeeping is that old school. And you know, a lot of my lifestyle is old school, and the way I hunt ducks is old school, and people keep pointing it out to me that people like me are dying off, and I need to share and explain things to people, because I enjoy it. I like teaching. Teaching reinforces the knowledge that you have within yourself. When I was in college, I made a point out of being a tutor, because then, you know, my peers would come and we'd work together on problems we were having in the peer tutoring lab, where I was paid to help other people. I actually got paid to do schoolwork, kind of thing. It was helpful for me. It sharpened my skills up to where I was pretty sharp, or at least when I was in college. You don't use those things and you lose it pretty quick. But I still like to do a little math every now and then, and there's some bee math for you. It never works out. Bee math does not work. But this will at least give you some idea of why I experiment around and change around the way I'm doing things. For a while, what I'll do is I'll keep a single deep brood box all summer long until I harvest the honey off of it. And then what I'll do is take the queen excluder off, and then one of the boxes that I just extracted honey from will be brooded up. I'll find one like that and stick it back. It might have some bee bread in it and stuff, pollen maybe, because sometimes you'll harvest honey and there'll be bee bread in the frame with it. You spin it, the honey comes out, but the bee bread stays. You could give that back to bees, and it's fine. And that's what I will do when I'm fully harvested all my honey and I'm done for the season. I'll put supers back, with a deep and a medium. So basically, my beehive will be set up with 2 boxes, a deep box and a medium box, and then that'll be it for the winter. Now I'll go into a little more detail about why and etc. It's brooded up super. I have those, and I have others that are not. I try to keep them separate, but it's not always possible. But the broody super is meant for them. In the fall, I want them to fill it with honey, and then they'll overwinter. And then in the spring, when I come and check it in March and early April, I'll find that bees are nesting in the entire thing, the top and the bottom. I'll find where there's eggs and larvae and capped brood in this part of the hive. So what I'll do is I'll separate it. I could just take this box and set it over there, and then I'll go through this one too. I'll find the queen, make sure she's marked, mark her if necessary, and then I'll put her in the bottom, put a queen excluder here, then set this other box on top. You got to imagine here that these are boxes full of these things. Wait here and I'll get you some visual aids. Now, one frame of foundation sort of represents this. There would be 10 of them in a box, and 10 of these. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So we've got to the point where we've got a queen excluder here. We put this one back with no queen, but brood still in it. Ew, gross. Right? Well, one of the challenges for a beekeeper is to get bees to cross that barrier. It's like a little wire mesh thing that bees just fit through, but the queen bee won't, or the drone bees won't fit through it either. It gets a while for them to get trained to go back and forth. Well, if you've got bee brood up here that needs to be fed, and others that are hatching out and etc., then that gets them going back and forth right off the bat. So the barrier isn't really a barrier anymore. And you put more boxes on top. These will all hatch out. It'll get filled with honey, and then they fill the next one and the next one and the next one. At least in theory, that's how it works. I think really they're filling them all at once because the nectar just comes woof all at once, and they spread it out so it can dry, and then they consolidate it and cap it. I think there's a little more moving it around than we think inside of a beehive, but they do move the honey around. Okay, that's probably over-explained to death on hive management and the numbers and why I experiment around with different size nests, and then while I'll expand it and contract it at certain times of the year and how it works and everything. I pretty well explained it to death there. Hope you all understand that. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. Have a great day. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.